François Caron was a French Huguenot refugee to the Netherlands who served the Dutch East India Company for 30 years, rising from cabin boy to Director-General at Batavia, only one grade below Governor-General. He was later to become Director-General of the French East Indies Company. He is sometimes considered the first Frenchman to set foot in Japan. He was actually born in Brussels to a family of French Huguenot refugees, but he only became a naturalized citizen of France when he was persuaded by Colbert to become head of the French East Indies Company, which was intended to compete with the Dutch and the English in Asia. He disputes that honor with the French Dominican missionary Guillaume Courtet, Japan. Caron began as a cook's mate on board the Dutch ship Schiedam bound for Japan, where he arrived in 1619. His language skills had developed, and in 1627, he traveled to Edo as the interpreter for the VOC mission to the shogunal capital. He is not quite the first known instance of Franco-Japanese relations, since he was preceded by the visit of Hasekura Tsunenaga to France in 1615. Caron stayed in Japan for over 20 years, from 1619 to 1641, eventually becoming the VOC Oberhaupt in Japan. During this period, he married a Japanese woman and had 6 children. His entire family followed him to Nagasaki when the Japanese forced the Dutch to abandon their outpost at Hirado. Then his family moved with him to Batavia when he left Japan in 1641. In 1626, Caron was working in Hirado as full assistant. On 9 April 1633, Caron was promoted as a senior merchant, making him the second-ranking company official in Japan. On 12 February 1639, he succeeded Nicolas Kukabaka as president and head of the company's trade in Japan. The company's headquarters were moved from Hirado, while he had put a Christian year on the warehouse to Dejima in Nagasaki in 1641. Returned to the Netherlands. In 1641, Caron's Japan contract with the company expired, and he went to Batavia awaiting a transfer to Europe. At the time, he was nominated member of the Council of the East Indies, the governing body of the VOC in Asia, next to the Governor-General. On 13 December 1641, Caron sailed back to Europe as commander of the merchant fleet. New assignments in Asia. Although he was rewarded handsomely for his services with a capital of 1,500 guilders, he again left for Asia in 1643 aboard the Oliphant. In September 1643, he headed an army of 1,700 men against the Portuguese in Ceylon. In 1644, Caron was then named governor of Formosa, and he was the chief VOC official on the island until 1646. During this period, his achievements included restructuring the production of rice, sulfur, sugar and indigo, and moderating the trade with Chinese pirates. He had to return to Batavia in 1646. In 1647, he was appointed Director-General, second in command after the Governor-General. In 1651, Caron was recalled to the Netherlands, together with Cornelis van der Lijgen, due to allegations of private trade, but he successfully defended his case, and was able to resign with honor from the company. Appointment with the French East Indies Company. The arenas of French rivalry with England and Holland expanded to Asia in 1664 when the French finance minister Jean-Baptiste Colbert persuaded Louis XIV to grant a patent to a newly contrived French East Indies Company. Somehow Colbert managed to entice Caron into accepting a leadership role in this nascent enterprise. He became the company's Director-General in 1665. This action was perceived as treason by the Dutch, and Caron was banned eternally from the provinces. Madagascar in 1664, François Caron sailed to Madagascar. The company failed to found a colony on Madagascar but established ports on the nearby islands of Bourbon and Ile-de-France. In the late 17th century, the French established trading posts along the east coast. India. Caron succeeded in founding French posts at Surat and at Masulipatam in India, and Louis XIV acknowledged those successes by awarding him the Order of St. Michael. He was commissaire at Surat between 1668 and 1672. The French East India Company formally set up a trading centre at Pondicherry in 1673. This outpost eventually became the chief French settlement in India. In 1672, he helped lead French forces in Ceylon, where the strategic bay at Trincomalee was captured, and St. Thomé on the Coromandel coast was also taken. However, the consequences of his military success was short-lived. The French were driven out these modest conquests while Caron was en route to Europe in 1673. He died as his ship sank off Lisbon on 5 April 1673, while he was returning to Europe. Honours Order of St. Michael, 1672. Works. Beschrijving van het Maktij Koninkrijk Japan und Siam. Amsterdam. Beschrijving van het Maktij Koninkrijk Japan. Amsterdam. Beschrijving van het Maktij Koninkrijk Japan. Amsterdam. Nuremberg. A True Description of the Mighty Kingdoms of Japan and Siam. London. Samuel Brown and Amp. John de la Recluse. A True Description of the Mighty Kingdoms of Japan and Siam. London. Samuel Brown and Amp. John de la Recluse. A True Description of the Mighty Kingdoms of Japan and Siam. London. Argonaut. Wahrhaftig Beschreibungsfähig Königreiche Japan, Siam und Korea. Nuremberg.